The End of the Treachery, Volume 2 of the Wichita Chronicles, will be available December 9th, 2024, on Amazon.
And welcome to Tiki Man and the Viking podcast. And he is Tiki Man.
I'm H.B. Burlow, the historical crime fiction author of the Wichita Chronicles, with the second book coming out on December 9th, titled The End of the Treachery. And he is the Viking.
I am William Bryan Johnson, author of Hell to Pay and The Dark Cry of Aristed, and soon coming out,
Really?
Middle-Aged Man in a Trash Can.
Woohoo! Great to hear that.
No date yet, but it's coming.
And you also have a book cover, correct?
Yeah, I have a book cover I may be sharing on this podcast.
That would be exciting.
Yeah, kind of a big major reveal.
So, we're coming down to the end of the year. This episode may be like the last episode of the year. So, it's been a pretty cool year behind us, and there's some cool things coming up for us. What's been the best thing of the past year for you in terms of writing?
I pretty much wrote the last chapter to the Saga of Valdir, and it's gonna need a second book.
Which you didn't anticipate.
I did not anticipate. I had some time over the week, and I went ahead and did a word count to see what I've had, and I wrote 90,000 words roughly over this year on the Saga of Valdir, and very happy. Book is writing itself. I did not expect it to go this long, but here we are. And so,
why not?
And I fear I'm usually a pretty concise writer. I'm probably going to end up padding that a little bit more when I go back and edit. So it's been a good year.
It's like when your toes start to tingle, and you're like, oh my goodness, it's all happening.
Yeah.
So are you going to get both books done first, or work on the first one and then see where it leads to the second one? How are you going to play that out?
I think what I'm going to do is put it together, and usually with my writing and what I do, I'm pretty frazzled to do a lot of creative things during the week, and I'm just kind of writing on the weekends or over breaks. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start editing during the week.
Okay.
And then start creating on the weekends and during breaks and things like that. So
very good. So that basically is also what is going on for your forthcoming year, because you'll be also working on book 2.
That's right.
Now, you got Middle-Aged Man in a Trash Can coming out, which I've talked with Brian about this for quite some time. I was thrilled when we were at OWFI. Mm-hmm. You met up with Alicia Dean from
Wild Rose Press.
Wild Rose Press, which is my publisher. So there was that. There's then the forthcoming components of marketing.
Yeah.
So what are you going to wind up doing? Besides, obviously, I guess you could use your podcast.
Well, yeah, but I've looked a lot more into using TikTok and Facebook and doing things through there. TikTok, I need to be a little bit more regular on my posting.
Okay.
And one of the things I've started doing is, after I am done writing with the Saga of Valdir, I actually gone in and done a picture. I use AI art for character sketches and stuff like that. So I'm either designing a character or I'm designing a scene in that. And I've had a lot of fun with that. And one of the things I wanted to do previously with The Dark Cry of Aristed was essentially put out kind of character sketches or scenes and do a little bit of voiceover from the novel. And so I need to learn that a little better. I need to kind of learn the book talk and the shops and things like that on TikTok, and being able to link. Right now, everything is done through my biography, but there's got to be an easier way to do it directly from the TikTok. So
now, is there going to be anything associated with Middle-Aged Man and Trash Can in terms of, pictures beyond the cover? Are you going to do the same AI photos for that as well?
Yeah, I'm going to start doing some character sketches and getting information out. Once I get a release date, we'll go a little bit more into marketing overdrive for that. And same thing, kind of do a little bit of voiceovers, talking about the characters, talking about the situations.
Now, because you had been doing the AI photo thing for a while, I had gotten the inspiration from you to do that, and I recently had a bit of a video out for AI-generated character photos for the end of the treachery, and found some royalty-free music to put behind it. Nice. And since many of the characters were quote-unquote inspired by real people, I also made sure that I tagged said real people when I posted that onto social media, so they'd be like, "Oh, that's cool. That's what I look like." And it's like, I don't know.
I'll get you back.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, as I've said for years, I have worked with more women than men, but my writing, unfortunately, because of the time period, there's more men than women, so there have been a lot of female friends and coworkers who have had to take on male character roles, but they didn't mind because at least they were being referenced.
Right.
So happy about that from that standpoint.
And one of the things I kind of want to discover a little bit more is AI video that's coming out.
Really?
And yeah, there's some new things. I don't know enough about it to talk in any sense, but I've been seeing a lot of things on Instagram to where people kind of do stories and they use AI to animate them. But it's still new. There's still a lot of flaws in the system. Okay. I've seen some really interesting things come out of announcements for things that are coming very near in the future, that it could very well replace a lot of the things that are being done normal through videography and stuff like that, which gets scary too, because I'm also a filmmaker, I'm also a videographer, I'm a photographer, and I occasionally will see people post pictures that they're saying are real, and it's like, no, that's not. That's completely AI generated.
And you know something, with my background in filmmaking, back in the day when it was filmmaking, you and I have never discussed a film project. And after knowing each other for as long as we have, having done this podcast for what will be roughly a year and a half, I think that might be the next joint venture, which I would not mind any genre getting back into more than just, the book trailers that I've done.
Yeah.
Windows Movie Maker, my own photos, royalty-free music, a cute little script, fine. But getting back into filmmaking, and we'll use the term loosely, would be really exciting for me, because that would be like, 40 years later, I'm finally using my degree, Okay, so...
And there's several little things that we could do, because they have like the 20 or the 48-hour film thing through Tall Grass.
Right, yes,
and,
that would be definitely cool.
That would be fun.
Cool. Where do you see the podcast, this podcast, Taking Me on the Viking, where is it going to go next year?
Oh, I still think we ought to work on getting other people in. I mean, we've talked about some big-time people that we know that would be interested in getting in. We may see what happens on the conference circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we're going to still balance it out by the interviews. And we have, it's interesting, we were talking about initially, just like get a few local people, and that kind of warmed us up, and it was great to have them because they're friends, we knew them. But we've also invited in people that we didn't know quite as well.
Right.
And 10 minutes or 15 minutes of talking with them before doing the podcast itself, and then 10 or 15 minutes of chatting with them after, and you're like, wow, I'm really glad we had you in. That makes it so much better.
And I think it's just the fact that creatives love to talk to one another.
Exactly. And as we've seen, just from you and I doing this, and you with the 90,000 words this year, that's what the motivation is. If we can honor the people that we interview by saying, hey, you're doing some great work, we're just going to try to tell people out there you're out there, in case they didn't know.
Yeah, right.
And then that, in turn, it's like we're feeding ourselves and becoming equally as motivated. For me, I'm never going to not be motivated, but there's that extra jolt. It's like having that espresso at the end of the day, and you're like, this is it.
Yeah, and I always feel like, I'm talking about it, I better do it.
Yeah.
And we're looking at NaNoWriMo happening in, what are we, 10 days out?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, 10, 11 days out, and I don't know if Nano's always been crazy for me,
right?
But it's one of the things that it taught me is produce without editing. And you've got to do that, or it's going to constantly slow you down.
I did Nano for about 6 years when I was grasping at straws and needed that. Right now, I've got book 2 of Wichita Chronicles coming out. I'm editing book 3, and I'm desperately trying to sketch out the story for book 4. So I don't need Nano because I've got a lot going on as it is. And I think I talked on this podcast and to other people that, you know what, the historical crime fiction now for $6 has been great, but I might want to get back into poetry. And I might want to, because I think I won first place at OWFI for script and play.
Yeah.
I did the one-act play.
Yeah.
I may want to get back into doing that. And we just talked about the film project. So it's almost like I don't want to get into that historical crime fiction rut.
Right.
Everything about it for the past 6+ years for me has been exciting, and I'm going to continue the series, but I feel like I've gotten I feel like Uma Thurman from Pulp Fiction. I just got the shot of adrenaline in the heart, and I am ready to do more, different, other, whatever it is.
And you have book 2 coming out December
9th, and I've been, blog posts, trailers, excerpts, everything coming out in as many social media venues that I have. It's enjoyable. It's enjoyable. It's gratifying. You're not done with the Saga of Valdir, but putting those first 90,000 out there is like, oh my goodness, I just wrote a first draft.
Yeah.
And it's great. That feeling. And I'm sure anybody else who does anything in any creative field, that first draft, the first time you put down the lyrics to a song that you wrote, or vice versa, the first time that you sketched out what you're going to paint.
Yeah. Or even doing a short story and having it come to a gratifying conclusion.
Exactly. And there is an energy that you feel that feeds you more to keep going. So I think this has been great. Past year has been, we were at OWFI. We met some great people. We reintroduced ourselves to people that we had known.
Yeah.
And there's more from that to come out. So OWFI was a major springboard for you and I together for the podcast. We give props to them. And there's probably some other conferences that we need to be looking into.
That's kind of what I thought too. But, the other thing is too, we need to attract readers. And I think when the third book comes out, I'll start probably doing some of the comic book festivals and things like that, because I'll have my 3 books and I'll have a 4th one coming out sometime soon. Would
you want me to dress up as one of your characters, or do they have any short people?
Your character enough. None of the short people didn't survive.
Oh, okay, fine. It's a good thing I'm here now in 2024. Well, no, this has been a great year, and of course for me personally, my wife and I moved after living in the same house for 25 years. We've downsized. We just celebrated our first anniversary in our new house.
Congratulations!
And thank you. And what we've done in just a year's time has been amazing, because we're getting to a point where we're both getting closer to retirement, and we want the house to be the place where we can do respectively what we want to do.
Right.
I've already got a great basement office, and I've always said if I ever had a wet bar in there, my wife might never see me again, except I make dinner, so I guess I would see her at dinner.
Yeah. But you'll need to come up and get food occasionally.
Anybody out there that's listening, everybody that's out there that's listening, we thank you for the time that you've been with us and sharing this journey. Several things we'll say to end this. Comment, ask, respond, and read a book.
Yeah, read a book. If you want to contact us at tikimanviking@gmail.com.
That would be tikimanviking@gmail.com. There you go. That's a great place to reach us. Thanks.
Or make sure you can comment on the episodes too. Spotify takes comments, YouTube takes comments. Let us know what you want us to talk about.
I would comment, but it would be meaningless.
Yeah, we're already commenting enough on our stuff. So
thank you all for being with us, and we will see you when we see you next.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Tiki Man and the Viking Podcast, brought to you by Rumination of Thunder Media. The following intro and outro music was used for this media project. The music Find Them by Alexander Nakrata. Free download from filmmusic.io. License Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International.